Was with my mother, Jesus was with me. He was with my mother, Jesus was with me. On my journey, my drug-free journey, I want Jesus to walk with me. Jesus walks with me.
Thousands of displaced Africans were brought to the U.S. by ship and landed in Virginia, the colony named for the reigning queen. We were here before America was America. We were here fighting for liberty even before our founding fathers thought to fight for theirs. More than 150 years later, when America was born, we were as much a part of this country as anyone else. And that contradiction the founding fathers couldn't reconcile. Arguing for liberty while enslaving others. The fathers dropped the ball. Decades later, when America had gained her liberty, the conversation and the debate fell to those who had abandoned reason and were driven only by selfishness. By the 1850s, some white Americans pursued a new narrative, that black people were the problem, seeming to forget that we built this country. Now we are here tonight to remind you that we are America. We made it great, and our lives and our stories are a testament to this truth.
Looking back, knowing one's history in order to move forward is the idea of Sankofa. Sankofa, a bird that flies forward while looking into its past, carrying with it the memory and the importance of history. 400 years ago, 20 people were brought from Africa and landed on the coast of Virginia. They began what would become the most brutal institution in the world. But it is their triumphant spirits and the spirits of all those who came after and still survive today that is why we are here, to honor them and to remember. The traditions of our ancestors are a touchstone to give us strength, to motivate us, and to keep us moving forward. Journey with us then, as we participate in this family reunion, this gathering to celebrate the honored dead, the venerated living, and all those who came after and persevered for us. Come with us as we bring the past present, as we find power through knowing our history. Sankofa. Look back, go forward.
I am not seaworthy. Just look at how the fish mistake my hair for home. I had a life like you. I don't belong on the sea. I am not seaworthy. Let me be earthbound, star fixed, mixed with the sun, smacking the air. Give me the smile, magic kiss to trick little boy death off my hand. I am not seaworthy. Just look at how the fish mistake my hair for home.
Over the course of 350 years, 36,000 slave ships crossed the Atlantic Ocean. I walk over to the globe and move my finger back and forth between the fragile continents. I try to keep count how many times I drag my hand across the bristled hemispheres, but grow weary of chasing a history that swallowed me. For every 100 people who were captured and enslaved, 40 died before they ever reached the New World. I pull my index finger from Angola to Brazil, and I feel the bodies jumping from the ship. I drag my thumb from Ghana to Jamaica and feel the weight of dysentery make an anvil of my touch. I slide my ring finger from Senegal to South Carolina, and I feel the ocean separate a million families. The soft hum of history spins on its tilted axis, and a cavalcade of ghost ships wash their hands of all they've carried.
I've got a dream, shall I keep it? 'Twill come the day when I'll be weeping. How could I love you many times? This little dream upon my mind. You can take my body, you can take my bones, you can take my blood, but not my soul. You can take my body, you can take my bones, you can take my blood, but not my soul. I've got a body dark and strong. I was young, but not for long. You took me to bed, a little gone. Left me in a woman gone. You can take my body, you can take my bones, you can take my blood, but not my soul. You can take my body, you can take my bones, you can take my blood, but not my soul. Shall I keep it? When that Pharaoh chariot comes, I'm gonna leave you. I'm bound for the promised land. I'm gonna leave you. I'm sorry, I'm gonna leave you. Farewell, oh farewell. But I'll meet you in the morning. Farewell, oh farewell. I'll meet you in the morning. I'm bound for the promised land. On the other side of Jordan. Bound for the promised land. I'm sorry, I'm gonna leave you. Farewell, oh farewell. But I'll meet you in the morning. Farewell, oh farewell. Oh, meet you in the morning. Farewell, oh farewell. Oh, meet you in the morning. Farewell, oh farewell.
Hi, Daddy.
Hey, baby girl, what's going on?
Not a lot. How you doing?
I'm alive. There's more than some can say. It's another day the good Lord sees fit for me to live.
Daddy, you confuse me. I don't understand how you can believe in God with all the bad stuff that happens in the world.
Girl, I'm a deacon in the church. I direct my choir as we make a joyful noise. I praise God every day. You really gonna question my faith?
Come on, God is not always so good.
My God is good. He makes me happy. He gives me the strength and power I need to endure. You question why, I question why not. Everything I've seen and survived, God makes it all possible.
Hey! Girl, you got Daddy riled up on God again? You know you never win that battle. Hey, Daddy. Praise God. Can I have some money?
Girl, get out of my face.
Mama!
Now here comes my lady. Come on in here and dance with me. Somebody turn up that record player.
You're my darling, darling love. You're my darling, darling baby.
What are you reading anyway? I'm reading about 1619 celebrations. I think our family should do something to be a part of this historical occasion. Celebrate Black people making it through tough times, through rebellions and resistance, surviving all this craziness.
That's God, girl.
What's 1619?
Hold on. You don't know about 1619? Girl, where have you been? In 1619, the first enslaved peoples were brought from Africa to Virginia. 2019 marks 400 years since that fated time.
I can't believe you don't know about 1619. The New York Times has done nothing but talk about it. So many articles and features.
And yeah, miss, I could never live without my phone. It's been all over Twitter.
I can't believe you don't know about 1619. Like, you know so much. She's always trying to prove she's smarter than me.
And how hard would that be?
Right?
Daddy, that's mean. I am smart. I know stuff. 1619. Give me that.
My daddy was born into a family of sharecroppers on a white plantation in Greenwood, Mississippi, where Black people bent over cotton from can't see in the morning to can't see at night, just as their enslaved ancestors had done. The Mississippi of my daddy's youth was an apartheid state that subjugated its near-majority Black population through breathtaking acts of violence. White residents in Mississippi lynched more Black people than those in any other state in the country. And the white people in my daddy's home county lynched more Black residents than those in any other county in Mississippi. My daddy's mama, like all the Black people in Greenwood, could not vote, use the public library, or find work other than toiling in white people's houses. So, in the 1940s, she packed up her 3 small children and joined the flood of Black Southerners fleeing north. She got off the Illinois Central Railroad in Waterloo, Iowa, only to have her hopes of the mythical Promised Land shattered when she learned that Jim Crow did not end at the Mason-Dixon line. Daddy, too, struggled to find promise in this land. In 1962, at age 17, he signed up for the Army. He went into the military because he hoped that if he served his country might finally treat him as an American. So when I was young, that flag outside our home never made sense to me. How could this Black man, having seen firsthand the way this country abused Black Americans, proudly fly its banner? I didn't understand his patriotism. I had been taught in school through cultural osmosis that the flag wasn't really ours, that our history as a people began with enslavement, and that we had contributed little to this great nation. My daddy knew exactly what he was doing when he raised that flag. He knew that our people's contributions to building the richest and most powerful nation in the world were indelible, that the United States simply would not exist without us. In August 1619, some 157 years before the English colonists even decided they wanted to form their own country, the Jamestown colonists bought 20 enslaved Africans, forcibly taken from what is now the country of Angola. Those men and women who came ashore on that August day were the beginning of American slavery. They were among the 12.5 million Africans who would be kidnapped from their homes and brought in chains across the Atlantic Ocean in the largest forced migration in human history. They taught the colonists to grow rice. They grew and picked the cotton that at the height of slavery was the nation's most valuable commodity. They built the plantations of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and James Madison, sprawling property ceremonies that today would attract thousands of visitors across the globe, captivated by the history of the world's greatest democracy. They laid the foundations of the White House and the Capitol, even placing with their unfree hands the Statue of Freedom atop the Capitol dome. Our Declaration of Independence, signed on July 4, 1776, proclaims that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. But the white men who drafted those words did not believe them to be true for the hundreds and thousands of black people. Despite being violently denied the freedom and justice promised to all black Americans, believe fervently in the American creed. Through years of resistance and protest, we have helped this damn country live up to its founding ideals. My father, one of the many black Americans who answered the call, knew what it would take me years to understand. That the year 1619 is as important to America as 1776. That black Americans, as much as those men cast in alabaster in the nation's capital, are this nation's true founding fathers, and that no people has a greater claim to that flag than us. Think about it now. Think about all the amazing people among us today and the ancestors before us who did great things against the odds. It's our responsibility to remember them.
Well, how are we going to learn about how we built America when all we learn about in school is slavery, Rosa Parks, and Martin Luther King? Important people, but 200 years into American history.
Sometimes you have to look at the other sources to learn from, like art, music.
Yes, Lord. I remember my mama used to play her some Bessie Smith. She was one of the greats. She could sing. Man, could she sing.
Oh, yeah, she could sing. But more than that, it was what she sang about. She sang about what the people needed. She validated their experiences.
You know, my mama almost named me Bessie.
Ooh, aren't you glad she did it? What a name.
Girl, you don't know what you're talking about. Bessie Smith was everybody's hero.
I guess it's like today when people name their kids T'Challa or Tupac, and even Shaquille.
And don't forget Beyonce.
Now you best believe we're gonna start seeing some little Baracks walking around. As long as I don't bump into Donald's out.
Bessie Smith was born into poverty in Tennessee, but soon she became an international star. She spent time in Mississippi, was trained by Ma Rainey, and eventually made her way to Chicago, where she became known as the Empress of the Blues. Everyone who worked with her loved her. She was easygoing, sweet-tempered, worked hard, and had amazing talent, and could take the ideas and feelings of the people and express them through her songs. She died after being in a car accident, and people say that if she was white, she would have gotten the proper treatment and probably would have survived.
Yeah, she was the people's voice. And her song, Backwater Blues, I'm telling you the truth. When Nashville, Tennessee flooded in 1926, the people called on Bessie to sing their pain, and she did. Backwater Blues was almost like a Hallmark card, saying what the people felt but couldn't say for themselves.
When it rains, my face in the sky turns dark at night. When it rains, my face in the sky turns dark at night. And trouble takes place in the open night. I woke up this morning thinking, get out my door. I woke up this morning thinking, get out my door. So much trouble going around, make the world go away. She ought to go. Then we roll a little boat about 5 miles across the bar. Then we roll a little boat about 5 miles across the bar. I packed all my clothes to a bin, and they rode me along. Then I went to the pumps of high low hill. Yes, I did. Then I went to the pumps of high low hill. I looked down my house where I used to live. Backwater blues can call me, pack my things and go. They knocked down my house and I can't build this door.
You know, speaking of names, Daddy, why does everybody call you Jude? Your name's Ray.
Well, Daddy is Ray, which is short for Raymond, which is what everybody calls your grandfather. So I couldn't be Ray or Raymond. And I had 5 boy cousins, all juniors just like me. There was Junior, Junie, JR, JB, and Junebug. Because Junebug was taken, of course.
Ooh, I remember that Junebug. That was Viola's boy when that boy was so enough crazy.
You know you want to talk about people like that.
Hey, you're right. I should call him a boy. He's a grown man. As for crazy, I'm going to stick by that one for now.
You know, crazy is a matter of interpretation. We all got reason here in this country to be some kind of crazy.
Is that boy still living with his mama back in Louisiana?
Wait, we have no idea what you guys are talking about. We have family in Louisiana? Why would we come there anyway?
For the same reason hundreds of thousands of black folk left the South. Survival and a better way of life.
Oh, I studied about that.
Of course you did.
It's called the Great Migration. Black people left the South in droves and went north, most on foot, but it didn't matter. Walking hundreds of miles, maybe even barefoot, desperate for change.
Is that why black folk are so horrified when they see people walking around with no shoes? I don't know if I'd be willing to walk anywhere barefoot.
Child, you need to get your priorities straight. We were made to understand that it would be terrible. Every small want, every niggling urge, every hate swollen to a kind of epic wind, livid, the land and ravaged, like a rageful dream. The worst in us forgotten, and broken the rest utterly down. A long age passed when at last we knew how little would survive us, how little we had built or mended that was not yet gone. Something large and old awoke. And then our singing brought on a new manner of weather. Then animals, long believed gone, crept down from the trees. We took new stock of one another. We wept reminded of such color.
I watched them take the body from the house. I'm a young kid, maybe 5 years old. The whole thing makes no sense to me. I hear my father say, Lord Jesus, what's she going to do this for? I watch him walk out the back door of the house. I watch him walk around the garden, stare at the flowers, kick the dirt, and shake his head. Shake his head. He shakes his head all night long. Yazoo, Vicksburg, Jackson. We must have family in almost every city. I spent more time traveling than growing up. Guess that's why I'm so short than my old man. He don't like to stay in one place much. He tell me, as soon as people know your last name, seem like they want to call you by your first. Boy, if they ask you what your name is, tell them to call you Mississippi. Not Sippy or Sip, but Mississippi. Now, how many colored folk you know named Mississippi? None. See? Now you can find a whole lot of folk whose name is Canada. Just like you can find 53 people in any phone book whose name is Booker T. Washington. Your mother, she was a smart woman, gave you a good name. Not one of them abolitionist names. What you look like with a name like John Brown or William Lloyd Garrison that don't have no class? Your mother, she named you after the river because of its beauty and mystery. Just like my mother named me Nevada,
because she did not know where it was.
Although she feeds me bread of bitterness and sinks into my throat to protect her truth, stealing my breath of life, I'll confess, I love this cultured hell that tests my youth. Her vigor flows like tides into my blood, giving me strength right against her hate. Her bigness sweeps my being like a flood, yet, as a rebel fronts a king in state, I stand within her walls with not a shred of terror, malice, not a word of jeer. Darkly, I gaze into the days ahead and see her might and granite wonders there, beneath the touch of time's unerring hand, like priceless treasure sinking in the sand.
Ancestors never sleep and always seem to know what they're doing. How is this possible, I ask myself? Sometimes I am weary enough to expire. What a relief. I would think no more obsessing about this madness, whatever it might be, this year or even this century. But ancestors merely yawn and send me off for a nap. Not only is life not over, they sniff, it has barely begun for you. There are eternities waiting just beyond the next bad movie you fear you'll be starring in. Go to sleep, rest your brain, rest your heart, rest your eyes and all your thoughts. We have been with you from the beginning, which didn't exist, and we will be with you until that moment of non-existence swings around again. You are attempting to carry the suffering all around you, but your back is bending. Let us bear it for you, knowing as we do that it is only a difficult turn on a never-ending journey of dissolving and becoming and dissolving again and becoming once more, forever and ever, on and on. Save despair, our beloved sweet cakes, for a couple of eons later.
I knew the story long before I knew the reason for my mother leaving South Carolina. Her black pumps, leather, and new bought a size too small. Whether a sale or her vanity, she's gone now. Too late for the asking. One shoe, and then the other, and then the first again, and then small steps onto a bus already filled with the leavers. People heading north from South Carolina. Slipping like silk from their mouths. You got people up there? And where are y'all planning to stay? And the quiet, yes ma'ams, from the children. New York, a dream in the palms of sweaty hands, the pinch of too tight shoes, a fierce wave goodbye to old Jim Crow. See, I thought I knew the story long before I knew the story. My mother's brown hands on her purse, her 3 children left behind, for now her forehead pressed against the trailway's windows. I didn't know the story, never asked. Did you ever consider not coming back for us? It was a story I didn't want to know. How did she come to believe in a place she'd never seen? When did she know that home wasn't home anymore? I thought I knew the story.
You lie in bed, listening, waiting, fearing the moment your father returns home. You listen to voices talking in the next room and wonder why you're so afraid of the dark. His voice would love to kiss. You cannot see your face in the dark, but the blackness is there, like his back. If only he would open the door and look at you. Maybe the light would be in his eyes, his voice.
I pick up my life and take it with me. And I put it down in Chicago, Detroit, Buffalo, Scranton. Any place that is north and east and not Dixie. I pick up my life and I take it on the train to Los Angeles, Bakersfield, Seattle, Oakland, Salt Lake. Any place that is north and west and not south. I am fed up with Jim Crow laws, people who are cruel and afraid, who lynch and run, who are scared of me and me of them. I pick up my life and take it away on a one-way ticket. Gone out north, gone out west, gone.
The Great Migration. You know, that does sound pretty heroic.
Hey, come on in here, boys. Hey, how y'all doing? Hey.
Hey, cousin, good to see you.
I know, it's been so long.
We saw you last week.
I know, a long time ago.
All right, but can we get back to what we were talking about? Where do people go when they left the South?
North. Even I know that. I know they went north.
But where?
Ooh, are we talking about the Great Migration?
No, I majored in African American history in college. I fell in love after my first class.
It's what got me started in social justice and, of course, where I met Rod.
Aww.
Finish telling his granddad.
Well, some of them went to New York, baby. In fact, your great auntie Lila and her husband wanted to make it to New York so badly that they lived and worked in every state to get there. You know, I'm talking North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania. They stayed long enough to make travel money, then they moved on, not stopping until they reached the city. You know, my mama actually even went to New York. People went to Harlem, and what a city they made of it.
Like the Cotton Club. I've heard of that.
Did you also hear it was segregated? Black folk could work and perform there, not sit in the audience.
They went to the Savoy to do that. You know, back in the day, Harlem told the story. Sting singers, dancers, writers, politicians, some of everything. You know, while we're on the subject, my mama used to talk about the dancing. But most importantly, the idea. She always had so much good thinking came out of Harlem. You know, most of the greatest black minds assembled there, and the things they had to say, man, oh man. You know, I actually met the great Langston Hughes once. It was exciting. Woo.
Grandpa, you ain't never told us you met Langston Hughes. He was one of the first black artists to reflect music and poetry by imitating the patterns of black music. Jazz, in fact.
You know, Rod and I almost named Richie Langston after the great Langston Hughes.
I didn't know Mr. Hughes. I said I met him once, and that was after the heyday. I'm not all that old now. But he was an original, definitely not an imitator. He wasn't trying to write like them white folks.
Like I said, I'm a big fan of his originality.
He invented forms that were distinctly black.
We gathered. We took time off. We really pondered our freedom on the anniversary of our Declaration of Independence. When we dissolved the political bonds, when we proclaimed to the world what we hoped for, what we believed in as people set apart, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that we are born equal, each one, that the Creator gave us unalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. How wondrous are those words, how much we have achieved, casting off the chains that hold us back, how far we have to go, but we are free by most measures. How hard life must be in the many places on the globe where people are not yet free, where there are people still in the grip of slavery, in bondage, in fear for their lives, for their children's lives, for religious persecution, for indiscriminate death, for any kind of future. How blind we are to the realities around the world, how silent we are to the evil that stalks the sphere, how much more we could do if we took our freedom more seriously and invested in justice to the four corners of this troubled planet.
If my sorrow were deeper, I'd be, along with you, under the ocean's floor. But today I learned that the oil that pools beneath the ocean's floor is essence, residue, permanencias of all our relations. Nuestros antepasados who died returned to oil sin ningún testigo eons ago. We've always belonged to them, speaking for you, hanging, weeping over the water's edge. As well as for myself, it is our grief, heavy, relentless, trudging us however resistant to the decaying and rotten bottom of things. As Sankofa, our grief bringing us home.
Each day we go about our business. Each day we go about our business. Walking past each other, catching each other's eyes, or not, about to speak, or speaking. All about his noise, all about his noise, and bramble, thorn and din, each one of our ancestors on our tongue. Someone is stitching up a hem, darning a hole in the uniform, patching a tire, repairing the things in need of repair.
Someone's trying to make music somewhere, with a pair of spoons on a wood drum, with cello, boombox, harmonica, voice.
A woman and her son wait for the bus.
A farmer considers the changing sky.
A teacher says, take out your pencils, begin. We encounter each other words spiny or smooth.
Whisper to declaim.
Words to consider, reconsider. We cross dirt roads and highways that mark the will of someone and then others who said,
I need to see what's on the
States. Sing the names of the dead who brought us here. Who laid the train tracks, raised the bridges, picked the cotton and the lettuce. Who built brick by brick the glittering edifices they would then keep clean and work inside of. Praise song for struggle. Praise song for the dead. Praise song for every hand that was silent, figuring it out at kitchen tables. Some live by love thy neighbor as thyself. Others by first and no longer take no more than you need. What if the mightiest word is love? Love. Beyond marital, filial, national love. And case of winding pool of light. Love. No need to preempt grievance. In today's sharp sparkle, this winter air, anything can be made and sentence begun. On the brink, on the brink, on the cusp. Praise song for walking forward in that light.
I sit and sew. A useless task, it may seem. My hands grow tired, my head weighed down with dreams. The panoply of war, the martial tread of man, with grim face, stern eye, gazing beyond the ken of lesser souls, whose eyes have not seen death, nor learned to hold their lives but as a breath. But I must sit and sew. I sit and sew. My heart aches with desire, that pageant terrible, that fiercely pouring fire on wasted fields and writing protestants once men. My soul in pity flings appealing cries, yearning only to go there in that holocaust of hell, those fields of woe. But I must sit and sew. The little, the useless scene, the idle patch. Why live I here beneath my homely patch, when there they lie in silent mud and rain, holding me, the quick ones and the slain. You need me, Christ. It is no rosiest dream that beckons me. This pretty fertile scene, it stifles me, Lord. Must I sit and sew?
Droning a drowsy, syncopated tune, rocking back and forth to a mellow croon, I heard a Negro play.
Down on Lattice Avenue, the other night,
By the pale, dull pallor of an old gas light, he did a lazy sway. To the tune of those weary blues, with his ebony hands on each ivory key, he made that poor piano moan with melody. Oh, blues.
swaying to and fro on his rickety stool, he played a sad, raggedy tune like a musical fool.
Sweet blues, coming from a black man's soul. Oh, blues. In the deep song voice with the melancholy tone, I heard that Negro sing, that old piano moan. Ain't got nobody in this world, ain't got nobody but myself. I'd rather put my fountain and put my cellos on the shelf. Thump, 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 went his foot on the floor. He played a few chords and then he sang some more.
I got the weary blues and I can't be satisfied. Got the weary blues and can't be satisfied.
I ain't happy no more and I wish I had died. And far into the night he crooned that tune. The stars went out and so did the moon.
The singer stopped playing and went to bed, while the weary blues echoed in his head. He slept like a rock or a man that's dead.
We are all in a drowning boat. Happened before at Saint Domingue. We are the ones called boat people.
We all died long ago. What else can frighten us? Let them call us boat people. We fight a long time with poverty. On our islands, the sea, everywhere.
We never say we are not boat people. In Africa, they chase us with dogs, chained our feet and barked us. Who then called us boat people?
Half the cargo perished, the rest sold at Boston Market. It's them who call us boat people.
We stamp our feet down, the ground shakes, up to Louisiana, down to Venezuela. Who would come and call us boat people?
A bad season in our country, the hungry dog eats thorns. They didn't call us boat people yet. We looked for jobs and freedom, and they piled us on again. Cargo. Direct to Miami.
They start to call us boat people. We run from the rain at Fort Dimanche, but land in the river at Cone. It's them who call us boat people.
Miami heat eats away our hearts. Chicago cold explodes our stomachs.
Boat people, boat people, boat people. Except for the Indians,
All Americans are immigrants, but it's us they call boat people. We don't bring drugs in our bags, but courage and strength to work.
boat people.
Yes, that's all right. Boat people.
We don't come to make trouble. We come with all respect. It's them who call us boat people.
There is no need to yell or scream, but all boat people are equal, the same. All boat people are boat people.
One day we'll stand up, put our feet down like we did at Saint Domingue. They'll know who are boat people.
That day, be it Christopher Columbus or Henry Kissinger, they will know whom we ourselves call people.
Harlem was a time for rejuvenation. People came to Harlem because they were ready for change. And when they came together with their different attitudes and experiences, they pushed the status quo and made things happen.
Creole babies walk along with rhythm in their thighs, rhythm in their hips, and in their lips and in their eyes. With a high brows mind, love satisfied underneath the Harlem moon. We don't take no cotton, taking cotton is taboo. We go live in cabins like the old folks used to do. Our cabin is a penthouse of all St. Nicholas Avenue, underneath the Harlem moon. We just live for dancing. We never grew up forlorn. Ain't no sin to laugh and grin. That's why we supposed to be born. We wore bananas, now we wear Parisian hats. Once we were barefoot, now we're sporting shoes back. Once we were Republicans, but now we're Democrats. Underneath the Harlem moon, underneath the Harlem moon.
Studying about Harlem is one thing. Experiencing it must have been a whole nother level.
Yeah, please tell us more about it, Grandpa. Now, it's not easy for me to remember. There are so many family stories.
Okay, get out that Bible and the photo album in there next to it. Yeah, he just needs something to jog his memory.
Let me see that.
Ooh, look at that dress. I bet you could really shimmy in that.
Some of these clothes have even come back in style.
Look how fine he is.
One of your cousins, so don't go get any ideas.
Yeah, he's probably real old now. Or dead.
I can't tell you how long it's been since we've seen some of our relatives. We're so spread out.
Hey, we should have a family reunion.
Hey, that's a good idea.
You know, that's not a bad idea. It's been years since Dad's seen some of the old folks.
And we can make it in honor of 1619. Every branch of the family telling a different part of the story, honoring our family and our survival.
You are such a nerd.
You know, I think that's a better word for you. Never ever reads.
Oh yeah? N-E-R. That's only 3 letters.
Yeah, D for duh. No, cut that out now. If we're gonna have a reunion, y'all need to stop fighting and we need to start planning.
All right, but first, tell us more about Harlem. Harlem was the place, the city, the mecca where black folks went to come alive and shake off the yokes of their oppressors, to think, determine, and influence. You know, they continue to actively define themselves and call themselves new Negroes to help everyone know they were being and doing something different.
New Negroes were everywhere, filling in voids and standing forth as leaders, being the voice for the voiceless.
That was Ms. Zora Neale Hurston in a phrase. She could put words on a page better than anyone, and she worked to hold her ground in a world dominated by men. And she worked with that white woman, Fanny something?
Fanny Hurst, actually. Rich woman from St. Louis. Zora was her secretary, and didn't they make a movie from it? Imitation of Life. As I recall, they actually made 3 different versions. The first one in 1935.
I hate that stupid movie. Where the black girl wants to be white. That's a white person's perspective, all right. Black people don't want to be white. They want equality and equity and the same privileges as whites.
Damn good movie though, I don't care what you say.
Hey, I'm kind of with Kay on that one. Although, I do love the end of that 1956 version. You know, the one with Mahalia Jackson where she sings at the end? Ooh, sweetie, it gets me right here every time.
Yeah, but Zora's book would have made a better movie, and nobody thought to make a movie about a financially independent and empowered black woman.
Right.
Sometime that night, the winds came back. Everything in the world had a strong rattle, sharp and short, like Stewie vibrating the drumhead near the edge of his fingers. By morning, Gabriel was playing the deep tones in the center of the drum. So when Janie looked out of her door, she saw those drifting mists gathered in the west, that cloud filled the sky, to arm themselves with thunders and march forth against the world. Louder and higher, lower and wider, the sound and motion spread, mounting, sinking, darkening. It woke up old Okeechobee, and the monster began to roll in his bed, began to roll and complain like a peevish world on a grumble. The folks in the corners and the people in the big houses around the shore heard the big lake and wondered. The people felt uncomfortable but safe, because there were the seawalls to chain the senseless monster to his bed. The folks let the people do the thinking. If the castles thought themselves secure, the cabins needn't worry. Their decision was made for them as always. Chink up your cracks, shiver in your wet beds, and wait on the mercy of the Lord. The boss man might have the things stopped by morning anyways. It is so easy to be hopeful of things in the daytime when you can see what you wish on. But it was night, and it stayed night. Night was striding across nothingness with the whole world in his hands. A big burst of thunder and lightning that trampled over the roof of the house. So Tea Cake and Motor stopped playing. Motor looked up in his angel-looking way and said, "Big Massa, draw him chair upstairs." "I'm glad y'all stopped that crap shooting, even if it wasn't for money," Jamie said. "Old Massa is doing his work now. Us ought to keep quiet." They huddled closer together and stared at the door. They didn't just use another part of their bodies, and they didn't look at anything but the door. The time was past for asking white folks what to look for through that door. 6 eyes were questioning God. Through the screaming wind, they heard things crashing and hurtling and dashing with unbelievable velocity. A baby rabbit, terror-ridden, squirmed through a hole in the floor and squatted there in the shadows against the wall, seeming to know that nobody wanted its flesh at such a time. The lake grew madder and madder, with only its dikes between them and him. In a little windmill, Tea Cake touched Janny and said, "I reckon now you wish you stayed in that big house of yours, away from such as this, don't you?" "Nah." "Nah?" "Yeah, nah. People don't die till their time come no how. Don't care where you at. I'm with my husband in a storm, that's all." "Thank you, ma'am. But supposing you was to die now, you wouldn't get mad at me for dragging you here?" "Nah. We've been together around 2 years. If you can see the light at daybreak, you don't care if you die at dusk. It's so many people never seen the light at all. I was fumbling around and God opened the door." He dropped to the floor and put his head in her lap. "Well then, Jamie, you meant what you didn't say, because I never knowed you were so satisfied with me like that." The wind came back with triple fury and took out the light for the last time. They huddled with the others in other shanties, their eyes straining against crude walls, his soul asking if he meant to measure their puny might against his. They seemed to be staring at the dark, but their eyes were watching God.
The music and dance of Harlem was so vibrant it still resonates today. Think of the Savoy, in itself a black monument that defied denial. It said, "Keep your cotton club and your cotton. Don't want 'em, don't need 'em." The Savoy was resistance and expression, and a damn good time. And welcome to the Savoy, the heart You are the world's finest ballroom, and are about to experience some of the world's finest entertainers. Just last week, some of our regular Lindy Hoppers were selected to perform in one of the Broadway musicals. And I can tell you that the performance scheduled tonight is also far better than anything you will ever see on Broadway. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cat Hathaway and our song, Action Boys.
What I do, what I do, what I do, da da do, da da do.
Try the salami coffee, stick with the gravy, baby, cause everybody eats when they come. Try the basil plato, it's cacciatore story, a taste of the lonely Tony, cause everybody eats when they come. Oh, I make no favorite dishes, hoping that good food is a job. Work my hands to the bone in the kitchen alone. You better eat and fix your job. Not them pancakes and drinks. I'm having a derby earthy. When I'm looking at the bento. But everybody eats when they come to mine. Oh, everybody eats when they come to mine. So he was trophy. black voices continued to rise. 1619 was an inauspicious beginning for black folks in those early English colonies. Not even a country then, the future United States in her infancy had black hands and minds there to help build it. We have defined America and our identities are tightly interwoven into her fabric. The Robinsons are one thread in the multifaceted American tapestry. Their celebration is our celebration, 1619 to now. Now I want you all to give a warm welcome to the D.C. Robinsons.
But in every other way, we do.
Welcome
We're thrilled to have you with us to celebrate family. This is our reunion, and with all of us here today, we'll honor the strength and connection we all share.
Hey everybody, I'm Carol, daughter of Canel and Cora. When we contacted you about the plans for this week, we shared that we're celebrating heritage. We're celebrating resistance. We are celebrating triumph. Today, the nation and its leaders want to advance a new narrative, a fake narrative. They want to speak of our presence and our attributes as deficits, and they want to convince everybody that we're the problem.
Yeah, and though they try to deny our contributions and want to forget that America wouldn't be America without us, without people like those in our families, we are here.
Tell them who you are.
Don't interrupt me, I'm so bold. Hi, I'm Richie, son of Ron and Sharon. Many of us, your kin, young and old, will share something, perform something, or have brought something and ourselves to illustrate the legacy of our family, to celebrate Black history.
And y'all know me, I'm Rick, this here girl's daddy. I have a quote I want to share. It's by Alex Haley. He was one of the first to remind us of the importance of looking back and tracing our lineage. He said, family is the link to our past and the bridge to our future. And so it is. We are blessed to be here today as a family. Now, we're going to start things off with our kid from Mississippi.
Come on up here with me. Thanks, baby. I need you to help me illustrate my point. Hi, family. I'm Jean from Mississippi. Hey. I just met one of our younger cousins. Tell him your name.
Hi, I am Jamie, and I guess I'm gonna get shamed.
No. It ain't like that. But I want to tell everybody about our conversation earlier. It started when I said, who are you going to vote for?
And I yelled, cousin, you ain't supposed to ask people who they going to vote for.
And I said, why not? I shouldn't even have to ask. Now listen to this. Tell them what you said.
I said I'm probably not going to vote. Why does it matter? And since you called me up here, I say it again. It doesn't make a difference. The head of a nation makes fun of Black people. Moms folks with special needs, ridicules and discuss us females? People are going to say it's going to win again. So why vote? Why does it matter?
Okay. And that's when I said, have you forgotten what people had to go through to vote? Because that's what we in Mississippi know from experience. Voting matters even if your candidate doesn't win. Maybe it's true some young people have forgotten. So to start things off, the Mississippi Robinsons are here to remind everyone of a Mississippi native, Miss Fannie Lou Hamer. Almost 60 years ago in 1962, Fannie Lou Hamer literally took a beating so she could vote. She was a sharecropper one step away from a slave, but she knew how to bring about change, and she did. So to give up your right to vote when so much is at stake, well, that's just reckless. And we Robinsons refuse to be reckless. Right, baby. Now you come with me so we can keep talking. And the rest of y'all make sure to leave me some of Coralie's cobbler.
It was the 31st of August of 1962 that 18 of us traveled 26 miles to the courthouse in Indianola to try to register to become first-class citizens. Now, we was met by policemen and highway patrolmen, and they only allowed 2 of us in there at a time. After we started back to Ruleville, we was held up by city police and state highway patrolmen. And the bus driver, the bus driver was charged with driving a bus the wrong color. After we paid the fine, we continued on to Ruleville. And Reverend carried me to the sharecropper area where I had worked as a sharecropper for 18 years. There I was met by my children, who told me the plantation owner was angry because I had tried to register. He said, you might have to go because we're not ready for that in Mississippi. And I told him, I ain't tried to register for you. I tried to register for myself. I had to leave that same night. On June the 9th, 1963, I had just attended a voter registration workshop, was returning back to Mississippi. When we got to Winona, Mississippi, some of the people got off to use the washroom. Now, the people that got off to use the washroom was ordered out. I was on the bus, but when I looked through my window and saw that the people who were in the washroom rushed out, I got on the bus to see what had happened. A lady told me, and when I got back on the bus, one of the persons got back on the bus too. As soon as I was seated upon this bus, I saw when the highway patrol began to get the people who were in the washroom. I got off the bus to see what was going on, and I hear someone yell from the highway patrolman's car and say, "Get that one there!" And when that man told me under arrest, he kicked me. I was carried to the county jail and put into the booking room, and it wasn't too long before 3 white men came to my cell. One of these men was a highway patrolman, and he asked me where I was from. I told him Ruralville. "You from Ruralville, all right." And he used a curse word. And then he said, get this is what he said. "We gonna make you wish you was dead." I was carried to another cell where they had 2 Negro prisoners. Now the first Negro prisoner ordered me to lay down on a bunk on my face. And so I did. And that first man began to beat me. And he beat me until he was exhausted. And I was holding myself on my left side because I had suffered from polio when I was 6 years old. After the first man beat me until he was exhausted, the second man took the blackjack. And the second man began to beat me until he was exhausted. The first man sat on my feet, and I began to scream, and the highway patrolman beat me in my head and told me to hush. I was in jail when Medgar Evers was murdered. All of this is on the account of we wanted to register to become first-class citizens. I question, America, is this really America, land of the free, home of the brave, where we have to sleep with the telephones off the hooks, we have to walk on the other side of the street because the white folks, when we flinch, every time we hear a sound of a police siren that are blocks away. Do y'all hear me tonight? I'm asking, do y'all hear me tonight? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of doing all of this just to live as a decent human being in America. My name is Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer, and I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Thank you very much.
Hey Robinsons, I'm Sharon, wife of Rod and mother of Richie. I'd like to share a quote with you by Desmond Tutu. He said, "You don't choose your family. They are God's gift to you as you are to them." And I believe that wholeheartedly, except I did choose this family. And I wanted to say that I've always appreciated being welcomed by each and every one of you. Being here to help honor the Robinson legacy of hope and survival is my greatest privilege.
Our theme for day 2 is survival and resistance. After the Civil War, the South continued to be a difficult place to live, but some chose to stay and fight, as we know from Fannie Lou Hamer's example. Others also chose to leave and seek their fortunes elsewhere, even in the dead of night, when nothing but the clothes on their backs made me shook. They all departed. But that didn't mean the living was easy. Even today, being Black requires strength and vigilance, and we, the California Robinsons, want to remind each and every one of you of this very important message.
Hey y'all, it's good to see everybody. Really good. Y'all looking great. Thank you. Listen, I love my family, and I want to talk about something we should not have to talk about at all. I want to talk about something difficult, but important. I want to talk about the talk that many Black parents have with their children. Now, I remember when my mother had to talk with me about what I should do if I was ever stopped by the police. How I should respond, how I should not make any false moves, how I should do what they say. I remember the look on her face and the fear in her voice.
I remember knowing that even as I was saying the words, none of it mattered. That a Black boy could be stopped for just being a Black boy, could be beaten, or even worse. And I didn't want him to be afraid, though I was. I wanted him to be strong. I wanted him to live. We want to remind everyone that Black boys should not have to be afraid for just being themselves, for living. And we anticipate the day when our children will no longer be taken from us through institutional violence that targets our very identity. We have to keep fighting. I say this to you, Black boys especially. Be strong, be fearless, and be free.
to share a poem that has a very relevant message. To change the world enough, you must cease to be afraid of the poor. We experience your fear as the worst of humiliations. In the past, it has sent us scurrying off, daunted and ashamed, into the shadows. Now, the world's ending, the only one all of us have ever known, we seek the same fresh light you do, the same high place and ample table. The poor always believe that there is room enough for all of us. The very rich never seem to have heard of this. In us, there is wisdom of how to share, loaves and fishes, however few. We do this every day. Learn from us, we ask you. We enter now the dreaded location of Earth's reckoning, no longer far off or hidden in books that claim to disclose revelations. It is here. We must walk together. There is no path without us. Chicago Robinson's in the house. Gil Scott Heron may be one of the only people who ever lived to earn a master's without earning an undergraduate degree.
Some of y'all need to look that one up. I'm talking about you, JB.
The Chicago Robinsons choose to honor Gil Scott Heron because his journey looks a lot like many in our own family. He was born in Chicago, lived in Tennessee, and eventually settled in New York.
During an interview to attend an elitist prep school, Gil Scott Heron was asked by his administrators how he would feel as he was walking up the hill to school. Some of his white classmates passed him as they were being driven in their limousines. And he answered, same as y'all, because y'all ain't got no limousines either.
Always speaking fearlessly and truthfully, even through his own personal struggles, Gil Scott Heron never stopped fighting for social justice.
You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and drop out. You will not be able to lose yourself off of Perk 30. Skip out the period on commercial because the revolution will not be televised.
The revolution will not be televised.
The revolution will not be brought to you by Apple in 4 parts without commercial interruption. The revolution will not show you pictures of Trump playing golf and leading a charge led by Brett Kavanaugh. Chitlins confiscated from Harlem sanctuaries.
The revolution will not be televised.
The revolution will be brought to you by the Kennedy Center and will not star Natalie Portman, Kanye, or Will Smith. The revolution will not give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will not get rid of the pain after just one pill. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thicker because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Kendall Jenner trying to start a revolution with a Pepsi bottle.
Or trying to slide that flat-screen ABC television into a stolen ambulance.
NBC will not predict the winner at 8:32 or the count for 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers in the instant replay. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers in the instant replay. There will be no videos of go-go being run out of the streets of D.C. on the grounds of gentrification. No slow motion or still life of Trayvon Martin strolling through the streets of Florida in a black hoodie that he has saved for just the right occasion.
LA, Atlanta, Hollywood will no longer be so damn relevant.
And audiences will not worry about if everybody really hates Chris or if the shade room posted, because black people will be in the street looking for a brighter day.
The revolution will not be televised. There will be no highlights on the 11 o'clock news and no pictures of hairy armed women liberationists leading a movement that remains stagnant.
The theme song will not be written by Ariana Grande or Lizzo, nor sung by Frank Ocean or J. Cole, because the revolution will not wait for a celebrity to hashtag the movement.
The revolution will not be televised.
The revolution will not be right back after a message
about a white tornado, white lightning, or white people.
You will not have to worry about drugs in your neighborhood.
You will not have to worry about being just dark enough to seem cool,
but not black enough to suffer.
The revolution will not go better with coke.
The revolution will not fight the germs that cause bad breath.
The revolution will not be sponsored by Honda.
Brought to you by Mitsubishi.
Nor brought to you by Volkswagen. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. There will be no reruns, brother. The revolution will be live.
Now, my grandma, when I was little, used to use her hands to discipline us. I got in some trouble as a child. But in addition to using her hands to make lessons, And food. That was her way of showing love. She used her hands to make memories. And I just want to... My name is Rod, son of Laura and Raymond, and I just want to say how blessed I feel. Y'all feel blessed? I said, y'all feel blessed. Anyway, when this reunion started, it started with a conversation about the first 20. The first Africans who endured, survived, and arrived in America. And even though they are not our actual ancestors, they paved the way for many other African Americans.
And because they paved the way for us, we stand here today in the shadow of that peculiar institution, but in the light of the strength of the first 20. We honor and celebrate them all.
Probably not many of you remember my grandmother, Effie. But she experienced things that would make you all tremble just to hear about her.
Now, she didn't know much. She really didn't. That was my baby. She had the fastest hands in the West. I can say that for sure. But you see, now she kept dreaming. My baby kept dreaming. Now, she didn't know that we would have a black president one day. But we did, didn't we? She didn't know that our family would prosper. But it has, hasn't it? She didn't know that her love would strengthen us. But it has. Now we stand here, as I've said before, to honor the first 20, honor survival, and honor all of our ancestors. Now talk.
Because they brought us to the present. This one's for you, Big Mama.
Grandma's hands at the church on Sunday. Grandma's hands made its memories so well. Grandma's hands closer to you now. Say, baby, don't you look so fast? Might fall on this glass. Rocky sneaks down that glass. Grandma's Grandma's hands soothe the wood. Grandma's hands used to ache and sometimes better. Grandma's hands used to cute out. One thing she said, baby, Grandma understands that you really love that man. 77 grandmothers. Grandmother's hands, reached out to the father, said she doesn't need you, but the kid's going through it, and he wanted to meet you. I think it's great you changed. Don't know if I believe you. Penny said, let me explain. Back when I tried to be there for what she always complained. Honestly, I was just scared for her and really ashamed. So like Jordan 96, when she wanted to rain, I hopped on a plane. Yesterday I saw him playing on the laptop, but I ain't want to make it seem, so I backdrop. Black top trying to make his way back to Pride Rock Train. Maybe it's too late for me, I'll stop. Sometimes the right thing feels wrong, like an accident I'm quoting the song. But you gotta stay strong, cause if you wait long enough, then the kids grow up and opportunity's gone.
Offering is about movement and rhythm in the form of traditional African dance. We know that African dance celebrated events like weddings and births. There were also dances that coincided with the harvest or the hunt.
Dance was also deeply spiritual. It involved the body and the mind in conjunction with the spirit to make up the whole self. Through dance, people were one with nature, their communities, and themselves. Dance could be a rite of passage or even a prayer.
Dance is an important part of life in all African communities. Known for its energetic beats that you can feel through your entire body, African dance is all of this and makes us feel good to do it, see it, see it, and experience it.
Watch out now, don't hurt yourself.
One of the things that we all agree is characteristically African is oral tradition. From the griots who told the story of the tribes to modern-day performers, Africans remain steeped in oral tradition.
Links and hues blended words and music, capturing and echoing jazz patterns and beats and poetry that was meant to be felt, expressed, spoken out loud. It was intentional. And though the term spoken word is relatively new, the idea has been there since the beginning.
So Robinsons, prepare yourselves. In the tradition of great orators like Sojourner Truth and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we give you the power of the word.
To all of those fixed on white, white is white. To all of those fixed on black, it is the same. And red is red, yellow is yellow. Surely there are such sights in this many-colored world. Or in the mind. The strange thing is that these people never see themselves, or you, or even me. Are we not in their minds? Are we not in this world? This is a curious question for those that are colorblind. What queer beliefs of men disbelieve in seers? People, if you would use your other eyes, you would just see beings.
You declare you see me dimly, through a glass that will not shine, but I stand before you boldly, trim and rank and marking kind. You do own to hear me faintly, like a whisper out of range, while the drums beat on my message and the rhythms never change. Equality and I will be free.
You announce my ways are wanton, that I fly from man to man. But if I am as a shadow to you, could you ever understand?
We have lived a painful history, and we know the shameful past.
But I keep on marching forward, and you keep on coming last.
Equality and I will be free. Take the blinders from your vision, take the padding from your ears, and confess you heard me crying, and admit you see my tears.
Hear my tempo so compelling, in the blood throb in my
unite me, and the rhythms never change. Equality and I will be free. Equality and I will be free.
Yeah, let's go!
Don't knock at my door, little child. I cannot let you in. You know not what a world this is, of cruelty and sin. Wait in the still eternity till I come to you. The world is cruel, cruel child. I cannot let you in. Don't knock at my heart, little one. I cannot bear the pain of turning deaf ear to your call time and time again. You do not know the monster man inhabiting the earth. Be still, my precious child. I must not give you birth. Four elements of evolution. Turntable turning. DJ, don't hurt them. Manufactured beats, engineered MCing. Let's take it to the floor. Genre itself standing in a b-boy stance. Fire to come from the butte and a funky bass line. Percussion sounds pulsate. She found her own way. The spirit of innovation migrates through sound wave, African dance and chants, cultural celebrating itself. Small ambitions and freedom birth global recognition. Hip hop is not what we do, we live it. When we look at ourselves, we see ourselves through eyes, which have been schooled to see comely only to oblique. Comely to us, skin that is fair. Comely to us, eyes that are light. Comely to us, hair that is straight. Comely to us, lips that are thin. Our gods and goddesses glow in a pulse of whiteness, and daily we worship at this shrine. Ugly to us, our satin black skin. Ugly to us, our fulsome lips. Ugly to us, our midnight eyes. Ugly to us, our crisping hair. Thus, we have rejected our own image. But that's not what should be. No, we black people must be born again. Know that black people, like other races, have our own distinct beauty. Know that the Saturday night too is beautiful.
He's as high as a Georgia pine, my father would say, half laughing. Southern trees as measure, metaphor, highways lined with kudzu covered southern trees. Fuchsia, lavender, white, light pink, purple, myrtle bouquets burst on open sturdy branches of skin, smooth bark. My favorite southern trees. 100 degrees in the shade, we settle into still pools of humidity, moss dark beneath live oaks. Southern heat makes us grateful for these southern trees. The maples of our front yard flew on helicopter wings and fall were splashing colored leaves, but never saw a spot from these southern trees. That's a magnolia, I tell her, fingering the deep green, nearly plastic leaves, amazed how little a northern girl knows about these southern trees. I have never forgotten the charred, bitter fruit of holiday poplars, nor will I. It's a part of what makes me Eve. I grew up in the shadows of these southern trees.
Because we have forgotten our ancestors, our children no longer give us honor. Because we have lost the path our ancestors cleared, kneeling in perilous undergrowth, our children cannot find their way.
Because we have banished the God of our ancestors, our children cannot pray.
Because the old wails of our ancestors have faded beyond our hearing, our children cannot hear us crying.
Because we've abandoned our wisdom of mothering and fathering, our befuddled children give birth to children
they neither want nor understand. And because we've forgotten how to love, the adversaries within our gates and holds us up to the mirror of the world shine, regard the loveless. Therefore, we must bind ourselves to one another,
to embrace our loneliness,
keep company with our loneliness,
to educate our illiterate,
to feed our starving,
to clothe our ragged,
to do all good things, knowing that we are more than keepers of our brothers and sisters. We are our brothers and sisters.
In honor of those who toiled and implored God with golden tongues,
and in gratitude to the same God who brought us out of hopeless desolation,
we make this pledge.
Hey, black child, do you know who you are? Who you really are? Do you know you can be what you want to be if you try to be what you can be? Hey, black child, do you know where you're going? Where you're really going?
Do you know you can learn what you want to learn if you try to learn what you can learn? Hey, black child, do you know you are strong? I mean really strong. Do you know you can do what you want to do if you try to do what you can do? Hey, black child, be what you can be. Learn what you must learn. Do what you can do. And tomorrow your nation be what you want it to be.
Child, you were born in a black world.
Black like the crew,
Black like your skin, black like death.
people say when a baby is born, angels sing and God rejoices. But nobody not sing and rejoices if the baby come out black. The first thing I'm gonna think was, why she never come out brown now? That's why me they would have like skin man.
But I guess when your daddy don't want you, the world don't want you. Child, you live in a household stained black.
Black like tar,
Black like coal.
black like the first cat. All you know are people. Left, right, front, back. You get a meaning because they talk right.
Talk like the white folks, almighty and proper.
You get a meaning because they ear no street.
Go fetch the cream and drain the bird. Don't you know that kinky hair ain't pretty?
You get a meaning because they've been running around on the street.
I want you to be like them white folks, but you can't do what the white folks do. Child, you walk on the road colored black.
Black like one up to us.
Black like funeral cries.
Black like the stormy night.
You need to fight, child. Fight hard, fight strong. You don't get nothing for free in your black world. You need to work twice as hard if you want to dime what the white folks got. You need to smile right and walk right and speak right if you want the white folks to even look at you.
You have to forget your black child. You want to know what them white folks say? Then forget your black. Because there's no place in this world for your child born black.
Child, you are stuck in a box drowned black.
Black like the bottom of the ocean.
Black like lonely.
Black like trapped.
They stop you when you walk the streets. They stop you when you climb the ladder to be where the white folks be. They stop you when you think you finally and were blinded by white. Don't laugh with them, child. The white folks don't like you. Don't you see the white folks is using you? They like you when you're good for them, but they laugh and snare when you turn around. They sharpen their knives and prepare their torches when you out the room.
Don't you see them planning to kill you, child? They want you dead like they want all black dead. Child, you live on the ground surrounded by black. Black like the world you're born in, black like the world you're living in, black like the world them teeth you're from.
Open your eyes, child. There ain't no white world for you when you black. You born black, you live black, you die black. All the white folks see is black.
There's no change in the black world, child. You were told to keep your head down and your back bent, but you stand tall, child. You stand tall and fight strong.
Because we survive in our black world. That is my power, child. That best be your power, too.
Afro-pop got me to thinking about back in the day when we were doing a little something of all this. But child, we party too. Ain't that right, Gina Carroll?
Showing up, girl. Ain't no shame in my game. This is as much part of our history as everything else. Social clubs have always existed in American society. Even in Harlem, when black people were still discovering and inventing their own outlets, there was the Savoy, a place for black entertainers and patients to express themselves. And one thing to always remember about black culture is that it is always evolving, aligned for emerging identities.
Girl, in the 70s, disco emerged as a new form for the subcultures of black, Latino, and gay people to come together with a fusion of energy and expression, free to be who they were.
Disco was freedom. Before it became mainstream, it supported cultures that were denied and suppressed in other venues. It combined black music and rhythm, Latino partner dancing, and the partying and flamboyance of the gay club lifestyle.
You know it did. Donna Summer sang about her beauty and freedom. She sang comfortably about her sexuality, the beauty of her body, and the need to be who you were. Disco was an empowerment on a very basic level. Even today, the timelessness of Donna's music still brings people to their feet. And Gloria Gaynor's I Will Survive, now that is an anthem to live by.
And they told the world chance you heard it for yourself. I've never told you so, just how I've been feeling over you. But they said it really loud, they said it on the air, on the radio. Whoa, on the radio. Whoa, on the radio.
Morrison, your favorite author, recently just died. Did you get a chance to go to her memorial in New York? Memorialized in the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. Oprah Winfrey and Angela Davis were among the people who paid tribute to her. The church was so crowded, people stood out in the streets. Luckily, I did attend. Toni Morrison was definitely my favorite author. And she was the only African American to be awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature. If you haven't read a Toni Morrison novel, you better leave this reunion and get to the bookstore, if there's even any left.
We read Morrison's novel Beloved in American Studies. It tells the story of an escaped enslaved woman named Setha, who is supported by her mother-in-law, Baby Suggs. And in that moment of community honoring and empowerment, Baby Suggs stands in a clearing and calls to the people. Her sermon is as important to that fictitious gathering as it is to the original 20, just as it is to the Robbins.
It's a sermon about love and carries a timeless message of strength. Here, in this place here, we flush. Flush that weeps, laughs, flush that dances bare feet in grass. Love it. Love it hard. 'Cause yonder, they do not love our skin, they despise it. They do not love our eyes, they just as soon pick them out. No more do they love the skin on our backs, yonder they plate. And oh my people, they do not love our hands, so they'll use, tie, bind, chop off them, leave empty. So love your hands, love them, raise them up and kiss them. Touch others with them, pat them together, stroke them on your face, because they don't love that either. You got to love you. And no, they ain't in love with your own mouth. Yonder, out there, they will see it broken and break it again. What you say out of it, they will not heed. What you scream, they will not hear. What you put in to nourish your body, they will snatch away and give you evens instead. No, they do not love your mouth. You got to love it. This is flesh I'm talking about here. Flesh that needs to be loved. Feet that need to dance and to rest. Backs that need support. Shoulders that need arms, strong arms, I'm telling you. And oh my people, they do not love your neck, unloosed and straight. So love your neck. Put a hand on it. Grace it, stroke it, and hold it up. And all the inside parts, if they would just as soon stop for hearts, you got to love it. And the deep, deep liver, love it. And the beating heart, love that too. Because more than eyes and feet, more than lungs that have yet to draw a free breath, more than your life-holding womb or your life-giving private parts. Hear me now. Love your heart. For this, a surprise.
Robinsons, hallelujah. These last few days have been such a pleasure. We've danced, we've celebrated, we've rediscovered, and we've danced some more. Oftentimes, family reunions are times that happen with other major events. The birthday of a family elder, a wedding, or even a holiday. We have not gathered here for something so tangible. Might you even say something so mundane? I said we, my family, we have gathered here for survival. And I argue that our survival is because of our faith. Now I know that some of y'all might be looking at me, saying, June, what you talking about? But here's my point. Take a look at this cloth. Well, this cloth is us. It's strong, it's colorful, it has lots of texture and depth. Try and tear it, and you wouldn't be able to. That's because it is tightly woven. But in one thread, I said in one thread, were to hang out there on its own, and you were to pull that thread, so you can unravel the whole cloth. We have survived like so many other families because we hold together. And because we do that, nothing, I said nothing, can tear us apart. We have family and we have God to lift us up and to hold us together. But you know what? Now I feel like we need a little praise going on. Now I feel like we need praise. by the Holy Spirit on that one.
And because we stand here today, stronger because of our faith and belief, ain't that right? But I'm being told there's other forms of youthful expression that our young people want to present to us today, and the younger Robinsons want to.
Thank you, Granddaddy. You might even say the next offering is the church of the streets, the pulpit for the youth. Hip-hop!
Child, don't go disrespecting the church.
Not at all. Hip-hop, like the church, was first a platform to raise awareness of civil rights, of justice. It was and is an outlet for taking something old and making it new, for transforming the past to have a place in the present and future.
In its early stages, hip-hop allowed young people to boast about who they were, to proclaim their presence, and to celebrate identity. Some may even say that it was a party in the streets, and if I'm being honest, it really was.
Remember that. Remember the first 20, and remember Sankofa.
We remember the 20.
They were the first of us to endure.
They remind us of where we're from.
They crossed over, and they survived.
We remember the sacrifice.
And today, we honor them.
We are the legacy. We are the legacy.
It's more than you. It is more than me. No matter what we are a family. This dream is big enough. This one can be real. And you can't stop us now because of how you feel. It's more than you. It is more than me.
Whatever dreams we have, they're for the family. We're not alone anymore. Now there are others there. Thank you.